Hi, and welcome to another episode of. Oh, we're gonna figure all these audio issues with new rig, new rig,
New
new
rig,
rig
new rig.
in
Yeah.
5D.
So I always complain when the closet's open because like messy closet, but I have a reason for messy closet. I have a messy closet because I've been cleaning because I just built a new rig, and so anybody who's built their own rig knows,
You
yeah,
you always
knows that
end up
there's
like I feel bad with how much detritus you end up with.
yeah, it's like all the packaging that comes with the new computers. It's just a lot.
It's
So it took me a while. And
just a bit
what's funny though
much.
is finally broken down with like all of the little pieces thrown, the extra pieces that you always have thrown back into their original boxes. The shipping box is gone. The
Mm-hmm.
slip case is gone. It actually breaks down into a pretty nice, neat little pile. It goes from being kind of a big set of shipments to being an absolute explosion, but actually packing up pretty nicely.
Yeah, I mean, because when I clean up after doing a rig, I always end up with two boxes. One is all the stuff that I want to keep, and the other box is all the stuff that I should keep because of that one fucking random spare part.
Yeah.
And one of them is always really fucking heavy, and it's always the spare parts because it's like, oh, your case is modular. It's got all these other accoutrements. Um, Although this is very much a first world problem.
Yeah.
We've both built a rig within the last year. Yours is actually a little bit better because of the video card you were able to score.
Yeah, I did get a nice video. And actually it's not what I wanted to get. I had to get a more expensive one because the one I was trying to get was
Yep.
totally sold out. And I didn't like any of the ones that were less expensive, so I ended up having to like wait and just it wasn't a lot more expensive, but it was a
He
more
one up
expensive.
me by accident because the card that he was going to get is the card I have.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah, and it
but
just
again,
wasn't
it was
available.
sold out, and I wasn't gonna get something lesser, and so I found an okay deal on one. It was like I think it was like 150 more, so not leaps and
Yeah,
bounds for
yeah,
a graphics card.
yeah. And I had always like I had always figured out. Whoops. I had always figured out that the performance isn't really that much on these graphic cards.
No.
Yeah.
Well, and honestly, especially for the game, I already had a buddy who was complaining about the monitors I use because he's like, "Well, you have this great graphics card, but the your monitors are shit." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I really don't play super graphic intense games most of the time. Having a nice graphics card, honestly, these days is just so that whatever I do get, I can make sure I always run it at top.
Yeah.
But other like I don't need pixel perfect sharpness. I don't like I'm not headshotting from across the screen. I don't really play competitive games at all. So like when I play Cyberpunk, it'll be pretty enough.
Yeah.
I don't need to see the outlines on the peni of the characters. Like whatever.
I mean, you do you. I prefer them, but yeah.
Sure.
I well, for me, honestly, the graphic card is. I just happen to play games that are really fucking graphic intensive.
I
Just
just don't.
recently,
Or I guess I don't on PC. I do on console.
yeah, but console's a different game because it's all capped and stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, no, not a complaint, just facts. But on the PC, the most recent game that I played that I was surprised, where at this point, it just has to be bad resource management. But I was playing Call of Duty Warzone. Not
Well,
the
there's your
most.
bad management right there. Bad time management by spending any amount of time playing Call of Duty
Hey,
Warzone.
hey, my brother who's actually gonna start streaming likes to play it, and it's just a way to spend time doing something together. The dude's in another state. It's not like I can hang out with him IRL. So we're just
Sure.
doing a thing and giving it a go. But anyways, I haven't played a Call of Duty game since I was probably senior in high school, if not a little bit older. Because and that was 15 years ago easily.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
Um and it's actually because of my brother. I've said this several times. And you know what? I'm giving it another go, but I'm running it. It is using 52% of my CPU. Just hammering that thing. And I have 64 gigs of RAM. It is hammering at least 20% of my RAM. Like ridiculous numbers. So what I had tried to do is
Yeah.
I had tried to get XSplit up and running, just to show my screen because my brother was like, "Oh, show your screen." I was like, "I don't have a good way of showing my camera and my screen without actually streaming, and I'm not going to do that tonight." Um, so I was trying to show the XSplit screen to play Call of Duty Warzone, and the computer was like, "Hey, bud, you have too many things happening all at once. I'm having a hard time. This game is beating the crap out of me." So I turned off the streaming gear and I turned everything off, basically running bare bones, even those processes that, like Steam updaters and all that stuff, just to see. And yeah, it was just straight Call of Duty Warzone. I mean, like that's got to be just a problem with the game itself, right?
No comment.
No, for like obviously you and I aren't game developers, but we've worked in the space enough to be able to comment at least. Like
I mean,
programs shouldn't do that.
no, it sounds like what this company typically does, and it's whip out mediocre garbage, and then we just live with that.
But yeah, so anyways, that's why I need fucking video cards because every so often some mediocre garbage comes out, and you're gonna need to just put the pedal to the metal. Um, there are a couple other games that are way more graphic intensive than I thought, but this is now switching over to like what I've been playing on the Steam Deck, right? I've been playing Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, and I've also been playing, trying to play Borderlands 3. And like, I have a picture of my little dog napping very comfortably next to the heating port of the Steam Deck because you put Borderlands on and that thing is screaming.
Yeah, I bet.
It feels just like the Switch when you're playing like Warframe or any of those like FPS, lots going on, lots of movement, lots of input kind of games. I think it's fascinating because like these really graphic intensive games now that they're trying to do and they've proven that the mobile market is a thing, like how are they going to survive there? Cuz like you, how long did you go without playing on your PC? Just straight up.
Oh, 4 years at least now, because I really stopped playing heavily on it before I moved to Oregon.
Yeah, so like I think
I played
there's
games here and there as folks were interested in something in particular, but yeah,
I, I
yeah,
think
heavily
I
four
think the
years or so.
couch game has been where it's at. Just look at the sales number for the PS5 and the Series X and all that, like, and the Switch. Wow.
Yep,
I and
about
now,
two of them.
yeah, I find myself playing the couch game a lot more. What do you think these companies are gonna do?
What do you mean?
Well, like, Call of Duty runs fine on your on your console or your Xbox, but what about these handhelds? It's not gonna run on a Switch.
No, it's
Uh,
not going to run for shit on those, but
and
I
I
think
can't imagine I could run it on a
I
Steam Deck.
I don't think people are going to those handheld consoles for that type of experience.
You really don't think that? You don't think something like because Splatoon was huge on the
I'm
Switch?
I'm not saying people don't want it. I'm just saying
Fair
they
enough.
don't go there because they know it can't handle it right now, and it
Mm,
can't. It's not good enough while being that small just yet. No, notice there's not like a great iPhone app game that does everything that a
yeah,
full-on PC game could do, and it's because it can't.
that's
They
true.
are very good. It's leaps and bounds better than mobile gaming used to be, but it's just not there.
But then, so then there was Stadia though, but they couldn't quite do that well because that was a way to fix that
I
issue.
almost I almost bought one and I just couldn't bring myself to
How
do
much?
it.
How much are they? Because I kind of want one.
At the convention it was $40.
Oh man, I should have said something. I kind of want one, like legit, just for the
I
collector's
kind of
value.
wanted it, but with some of the other stuff I was looking at and with having just built this PC, I was
Yeah,
really tame this year.
fair enough. Fair enough. How were the prices? Now that we're on that
Yeah,
topic,
let's go ahead and just
bow, bow,
full
bow.
segue. So I just got back from the Portland Retro Gaming Expo, PRGE. I've been going to this convention. I mean, I'd love to say as long as I lived here, and that is true, but they haven't held it the last couple years because of the good old plague outside. So finally back, first year back to this. Had a lot of fun. Did it a little differently than I used to. So every year they put on a free to play arcade that is mostly donated from local collectors. And what's great is it's not just full size arcade, it's full size arcade, full size pinball, and several just like bench long tables with consoles of various generations and a TV and some controllers and just a game plugged in. Like you can't change them. There's just a game plugged in on a console that you can go sit at, and you can just play that for as long as you'd like. Uh, and I've never really taken advantage of it before. Just my wife's not huge on arcade games, so we've walked through. But when you go during the convention proper, there's lots of kids. Kids don't want to get off. There's lines for things. You're there really to check out panels, check out the booths, all of that kind of stuff. So I've never really gotten to take advantage. So this year, I knew they opened on Friday, and they didn't open until late. It's from like 5 to 10 p.m. They open the free-to-play arcade for anybody who has a badge. And I called up my buddy who I knew was going to go, and I was like, yo, let's just like, we can work from downtown or whatever. We'll stop, we'll grab some drinks, we'll grab some food, and then let's just hit, it's Friday night, let's just go hit
Let's go
the
ham.
retro arcade, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
But like legitimately, like let's go ham, slam some drinks down and hit up the retro
Yeah, yeah.
arcade. And that's
Nothing wrong
exactly
with
what
that.
we did. Fuck, I had such a good time, dude. Like literally just any time there was an open machine, and since it was Friday night, it was a lot more open because the floor is not open. So a lot of people who are gonna dab like it's only people who are there to play at the arcade who are there.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd walk by, there'd be an open machine, and we'd just hit two player in every machine and give it a try until we were sick of that game. And then we'd mosey on down and find another game and give it a try. And some games we walked up, we played like one life each, and we were like, oh, I hate this. Let's go. And then other games we sat there and we played for, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 minutes. I think we ended up doing a total of 4 hours at the arcade.
Oh, wow.
Played on several arcade games from and actually, I don't know if it was set up this way on purpose or if this was just our luck, but I really do feel like we went through the ages. We started with some very old, like side scrolly up and down shootery kind of stuff.
That
And then
sounds like some middle school, like I have time in the world. How many flashbacks were you getting just going through the timeline?
oh, so starting with those, going through Vectrex games, and then getting
Mhm.
into like early 90s stuff, then into your Mortal Kombat, your Street Fighter, your
Yeah.
Virtual Fighter, did a couple of racing games, and then from there we went and we started sitting at consoles. So played some Monkey Ball, played some Melee, and some randos actually sat with us and played some Melee, and that was a lot of fun. Till the ringer showed up, the guy was like, "No, I haven't played in years." And then he fucking won every match with every character he picked, and it was like,
Yeah,
"Yeah, you're terrible at this, bro. Cool,
of
whatever."
course.
He ended up like high fives. Oh, like keep playing with me. No,
Yeah.
so he was like very nice dude, but clearly was like a lot better than everybody else sitting there, and it's just kind of not fun to just get dunked on. So we did sit,
Yeah.
we played a few rounds, and then we moved on. But then and then eventually my one big complaint, concessions closed really early, which I understand because it was open till 10 and you can't really have people there that late. But at the same time, bro, that shit was open till 10 and concessions closed at like 7 or 8,
Mm.
and my buddy had brought an edible,
Oh boy. So you
and it
you
was
got
like
the munchies hard.
it was a homemade one. And honestly, it wasn't anything crazy, but it did just make my mouth really dry, and I wanted a beverage. And the only thing there was they're called Wild
Beverage.
Bills. They were at Comic Con this year. They've been at just about every con I've gone to for the last couple of years. They're a craft soda
Oh yeah, yeah,
booth,
yeah, yeah.
and like their big thing is you buy the mug, and as long as you buy their mug, you can come back and get refills for like stupid cheap. As long as
Yeah.
you wait in line and pay for the refill, you get stupid cheap refills, and you get big cup of
They always
soda to
have
walk
a
around with.
very long line.
Yes, but you do get a big ass cup of soda, and it's a nice cup. My wife puts it in the freezer and uses it for everything. But it
Hmm.
was just soda, and I don't really drink soda. Uh,
Fair.
So after a while, like we would have loved to have stayed later, but right at about I think 9 o'clock, we probably could have pushed it out for another hour. 9 o'clock, all the kids are gone. Anything you want to play is open. Oh God, we got to sit at the Gauntlet
Uh-huh.
arcade, Gauntlet Legends. You know, like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
nice
yeah.
old 4 player. Got to sit at that for a while, but
Red
we would have
Wizard
stayed
needs
long.
food badly.
We would have stayed on it longer, but we just got like too thirsty, too tired. So then we just went to a brewery, and then the brewery closed down, and then he knew of a vegan bar that was open till like 2 a.m. And so we went and sat there till
That
midnight and then
that
came
is
home.
so fucking Portland. It hurts.
So great tater tots, bro. Fantastic tater tots.
That tracks
Uh,
as well.
so that, but what I'm getting at is that was just Friday. So honestly, I bought the full weekend pass. I didn't go back on Sunday, and I'll get to why. But I really felt like I got my whole ticket price out of just Friday. I had such a good time at that free arcade. Friday's the night to go. Super, super fun. So let's cut to Saturday. Saturday, all day, I was trying to do the dealer's hall. But Eduardo knows what happened on Saturday.
Oh, and we
tried
will
to get
talk about it.
I'm going to nutshell it right now. We tried to get tickets for Comic Con. It took way longer than it should have. We will get to why in a little bit. But basically, a convention I was trying to be at by 10, I didn't get at until like 12:30, 1 o'clock. I was just way waiting for meeting up with my friends at this convention. To make it worse, the president is in town, or was in
That's
town.
right.
So the light rails were stopping earlier than we needed them to
Mm-hmm.
stop. Bridges were closed. Ubers were taking forever. Parking was horrible. It was just a nightmare for traffic the whole weekend. So that also made me extra late to getting to this expo. I got there and I was stressed, bro. My wife had me like eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich on like the walk from the car over because
She stuffed the Snickers up your ass.
we had to park a mile away from the convention
Oh,
and walk
brutal.
over.
I've played
Yeah.
this game.
So that's the list. She's like, you haven't really eaten. We've been doing all this shit all day. Like, slam some food in you. Try and cheer the fuck up. Let's meet up with our friends and fucking do this convention. I will say, man, I turned around really, really well. For me, this year, I feel like prices got better. I'm not saying they're great. Not saying that. Not even coming close to saying that. I do feel like they were better depending on what you were collecting.
Okay.
So, this year, I really, really think SNES and Genesis seem to be the most prevalent. There were tons of them everywhere, and I honestly never looked because that seemed to be what everyone was looking for, and even the bargain bins, the shit that wasn't behind glass, those were still $30 and $40 per cartridge. For
Wow.
but the stuff in a bin, bro, the stuff
Yeah.
you could easily toss in your backpack and walk away was $30 and $40
That seems overpriced.
for SNES and Genesis. Yes,
Which just happens
Meanwhile,
to be the two that I actively collect. Great.
which I'm kind of taking a break from my Genesis, especially since I go for box Genesis. It's really expensive right now. It's really
Yeah.
brutal.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I PlayStation is fantastically priced. Most games, my buddy picked up Final Fantasy VIII, $25.
Yeah.
Great condition, all the discs, manuals, original case, everything. $25. I picked up the Final Fantasy Anthology,
Yeah.
$30.
That's not bad.
Other than, and I think he picked up Shenmue, and Shenmue was like $15 or something.
That's cheap. Shenmue's usually a lot more.
So really good prices on PS1 games. The downside, PS1 is like, I don't know, 1,000 games in its collection or some ridiculous
Yeah.
number. And the ones that are expensive are still in like the $400 to $800 range. But honestly, that's the top. Whereas, you ready for some fun numbers I'm gonna throw at you? I want you, okay, you as yourself. Let me know what you would pay for some of these games in the conditions that I'm talking about them in.
Sure. I like this game. We've played it before. There's usually a lot of anger.
There's going to be a theme with a convention you and I went to recently.
Oh, fun. All right.
So,
Yeah.
let's start on like some of the lower end. Something I picked up. Behind the glass, Game Boy Advanced, but worn condition, and not behind the counter. I mean just in the front glass.
Okay. Oh, just generally for a game like that?
Yeah. But not
Oh,
not a shit and not shit tier games. We're not talking sports games. We're
yeah, yeah,
talking
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so. I'll throw
So
for my example. I got 3 Mega Man Battle Network games from 3 different vendors and found very consistent pricing.
usually those games I range.
And yeah,
Um,
hit me with a range.
if you're hitting your like, we got this shit clearly we got this shit in a swap meet kind of place, then
Yep.
you can start like $50 is your lower range, but the top end for me that like $200. Like,
$30 to $80 for everything I picked up in that condition in those cases for Game Boy Advanced. 30 to 80.
oh, that is cheap as fuck.
Right. Good prices on Advanced. Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, $25.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm gonna hit you with a hard one. Loose. No box. No, what do you call it? The insert, no manual.
Just
Nothing.
cartridge.
Loose. Pokemon, what is it? Emerald, the remake green version. No, sorry, blue version. Sorry, Sapphire. Remake blue version. Sapphire. Loose Pokemon Sapphire.
I mean, if it's just loose and it's been thrown about, I'm not willing to pay more than like $50 for it.
$300 for the first one that we saw, $150 for the second one that we
Get
saw,
the
and
fuck.
$100 for the third one that we saw.
Not loose like that. You don't know if
Loose.
that. Fuck no.
Meanwhile, original Pokemon Blue down in price from last time I saw it in the wild. Loose, my wife picked it up $40. Meanwhile, remake Sapphire, Game Boy Advanced game, still. So it is a remake, but it's an old remake.
Well, then what the
Sapphire
fuck is
for the
happening?
Advanced.
Is it just
$300.
what's hot? How are they pricing these things?
In-box Pokemon Gold version,
Oh,
opened, not in plastic, and
Okay.
I don't think it had the manual. Box in decent condition. Hit me. Gold. So this is an original Game Boy game for anybody who knows. Not an advance. I think color though, right? Color? No.
no, that was yellow.
Okay.
Yellow was the one that came out for color because it's Pikachu, little fucking yellow little bastard. Pretty sure.
No, it is color. Sorry, it is color.
Gold
Gold
is
and
color?
silver are color. Looking at the box right now. Gold and silver are color.
But at the box, I don't know, man. Like, it's not that great of a game, anyways. Like classic wise, it's like, I don't know, $150.
$800.
Get out.
Okay.
Because
You
it's
ready
not
for
even.
the?
It's not even
here's-
the original.
Here's your flashback. You ready?
Okay.
Slated. Pokemon Yellow.
How much I'm willing to pay, or how much I think they put that.
You could give me either because you feel the same way about Slated
Ugh.
that I do.
Fuck. Pokemon Yellow slated. Knowing these greedy assholes.
Inbox.
Inbox. At least 8,000.
I want 10,000 for it.
God damn it! What did I say?
Slated Mario 3 inbox.
Oh.
Do you want me to tell you what Mario 3 goes for not slated? Just so you can have a comparison on this?
Yeah, because the problem is I have a hard time with Mario 3 because it's literally the first game I've ever owned.
Yeah, look. It's not that hard to get in the box. Like, I'm not saying it's like I've seen it at every PRGE.
It started my fascination with video games, my friend.
Yep.
Like, my...
But slated. What do you think they're asking slated on it?
Mario fucking 3, fucking assholes. 20 grand.
30.
Fucking A.
Do you want to see what? Oh, okay. So a complete copy right now. One sold yesterday online
Okay.
for a complete. So that means in box with manual. $70. Brand new. If you can somehow find that factory sealed, $665. But for some reason, putting it in glass, $30,000.
Fuck, get out.
So, some other stuff I saw, PS2s really down in price, in my opinion. I saw PS2s going for $150 and less. Mostly slims, though.
Yeah,
if that makes a difference to anybody, but mostly slims.
it
But
does.
150 or less.
It makes a hell of a difference because if I recall correctly, the Slims can't be modded to play foreign games.
Foreign, maybe, but they can still play PS1 games.
Some of them. There's some backward compatibility.
Better than none backwards compatibility is all I'm saying. So
But yeah.
2-in-1.
But
Uh,
but anyways,
saw a lot of Game Boy originals. Those seem to be on the rise. Saw a lot of Game Boy Colors. Those are in the bargain bins now, by the way. Original Game Boys and Game Boy Colors in a bargain bin, but still going for $40-50 each.
okay.
I picked up a modded SP.
Oh, okay.
So modded for it already had a backlit screen, but this has like a nicer LCD screen put in it. And it's also got they modded it to have a USB-C charge port.
Oh, okay. That's useful. That's just useful.
Right.
I
And
don't
then,
consider that an original console, but if you're just gonna play it,
yeah, it
Yeah.
is. This is not for collecting purposes. This is for playing because
Yeah,
the
yeah.
series I'm buying right now is a an advanced one. I was looking for a modded advanced, could not find one. Tons of modded colors.
yeah.
One modded SP, and you know what's on the rise?
Use the PSP Advanced.
ESP? No, Game Boy Advanced, bro.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about what was that second PSP called?
PS
like-
Vita.
Vita. Fuck. Why did I think Advanced? There's a V in it. I'm terrible. with
So
names.
Game Gears, modded Game Gears. I saw several, and if
I
if
have
I
one.
was
It's called the Steam Deck. It's big.
if I wasn't picking up the modded SP, I would have picked up the modded
Yeah.
Game Gear.
God,
But what
need
I
to pick that
also
up.
a big one for me this year, my Dreamcast died in my move, and so I've been really wanting to get a new Dreamcast. Finally got a decent price.
Is that
100. Go
the
ahead.
same Dreamcast that we got at like that local
Yes.
comic shop?
Yes.
Oh man, I didn't fucking know. Now I'm sad.
The laser disc reader on it died, which is apparently a pretty common thing. You used to be able to buy replacement parts for about $80, but you had to have some decent soldering skill, and I just didn't feel confident. So for $100, I got a brand new one with another controller that
Oh,
has the
that's
Rumble Pack
good.
and the save cartridge and all the cables for it.
That's
So-
funny. Does it come with a little Tamagotchi attachment? You remember that
Yes,
little
yeah,
fucker?
that's the save cartridge. So it's got that, and it's got the like the rumbly thing on the back of it.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's two mods for it, all for $100. I was totally happy to pay that price. Like,
Yeah.
smile on my face doing it because I saw other ones for a lot more expensive. I saw another one for 150, and it didn't have any of that stuff in the controller. So works for me.
Yeah,
Very
fair
happy.
So
Yeah,
do-
pretty. Depending on what you were looking for, some prices are down, some prices are looking good. I didn't look at a lot of N64 because I'm not collecting for it. And honestly, the more I go back and play old N64, fuck, I don't enjoy playing the N64 a lot. It is a hard console to play on.
That fucking controller. That's the hardest
It's
part.
so hard.
Well,
Somehow, as
yeah.
a child, I used to be so precise. I could do these tiny little flicks and get these micro movements on the screen. And now, as an adult, I can't make any turn without anything just flailing wildly. It's insane. I cannot
That's
use that thing.
Funny.
So, don't know about those prices a whole lot. NES stayed pretty consistent, but it's also been consistently rising. So, expect that for NES. But yeah, it was great to see a lot more modded consoles. The last time I went, they didn't have a lot of those. It was great to see advanced prices at where they were, especially since it's something I'm buying for, and PlayStation prices. I don't necessarily collect for the PlayStation, but I have a lot of nostalgia for the original PlayStation, and picking up those games sometimes is...
So the reason I don't collect PlayStation games, because I have a PS1, I collect the console, is because most of the games that I played, they've released already on the PC. So like,
Yep, they've done a lot of re-releasing. They've done a lot of remastering. You can get a lot of them for through
Look,
digital stores.
yeah,
and
Final
things.
Fantasy 8 you can pick up for like $5 right now.
Yep.
So I totally
Yeah.
get it. But that's the only reason I don't collect one. So do you feel you got a good haul? Like it was worth it?
I feel like had I not just bought a PC, I would have gotten an aggressive haul this year. But without that, there were a couple CRTs for sale, and I almost bought $25. Dude, CRTs have been so expensive lately.
Yeah.
It's insane trying to get a CRT right now. This dude had two of them for $25, but I parked a mile away. And I'm looking at my wife, and she's like, we have to haul this thing all the way back. But, like, My wife is the kind of person who's like, if she's pointing out, she's like, this is basically me saying I'm down, I'm not happy, but we'll fucking make this shit happen. And I was like, God damn it, I'm not down. I do not want to haul this bitch a mile right
Because you have gone old and soft and have forgotten how heavy those sons of bitches are.
now. Uh-huh.
Like,
It's brutal.
nowadays, you pick up a TV and you're like, oh man, this thing's just unruly because they're so fucking big. But
If it
no.
were if it were slightly bigger, if there was another one that I did almost buy. It was also just slightly not my theme. Just slightly not my theme.
Oh, it was actually a fish tank or something?
There was a pink pretty princess CRT with VCR built in.
What's wrong with that?
It's Beauty and the Beast, and that's just kind of not my jam.
Yeah, it's
My
not
wife
pink
really likes
enough.
Beauty and the
It
Beast,
always
but
goes
I'm not
more
a Beauty
purple,
and the Beast
doesn't
guy.
it?
And see, this was just the box, which was super light damage, so who knows what it looked like inside. Yeah. There was
true.
also, and again, it was just slightly off from being the right aesthetic and a little too much. $650.
That's okay.
Hello Kitty Sega Dreamcast,
Oh,
but it's in see-through blue, not see-through pink.
why?
Right, thank you. It throws
That's a
everything off
different
being in blue.
character.
Yeah, pissed,
That doesn't make any sense. That must be like a mod case or something then.
pissed.
Not an
And
actual.
it isn't official. And then there was
Oh.
also they had the EA Sports Black Dreamcast, which I thought about, but $250, and it says sports across the top of the thing, and I was like,
No, sport.
not a fan. No me gusta. No, not a fan.
That's funny. Yeah, that's like, what was it? The yellow Nintendo 64. It was the cheapest because nobody wanted it.
Yeah, I did. They did. Somebody had a loose, no box, no cables Pikachu N64. They had with like the
Ooh.
Pokeball switches and stuff. They had it.
Yeah.
Um,
How much?
I didn't even look, to be honest. I have two of them, two
I
N64s
know. I would
already.
have. I
don't.
would have snatched that up just because it's the Pikachu.
You
version.
should try and hit PRGE next year, bud. I think
Yeah,
you'd
I
have a
had no
blast.
idea it existed. So
I've
no.
told you about it.
I'm sure you've mentioned it in passing.
Well, next year, because if you come up on like Thursday, Friday, we can go hit up the arcade all night, grab some drinks and shit. Because there's tons of walkable places from right there.
Yeah.
I can even take you to the if we go to the all night vegan bar. They do booze and beer, so
Cool.
you'd be
Cool.
for that.
I'll just
and
bring
then the
a
next day, just hit
burger
up the
or
dealer
something.
floor.
I'm joking. I'm not that kind of. Well, maybe. I might order
I-
a pizza.
Oh, actually, for that, you could just go to Sizzle Pie, which has Taps, vegan pizza, and regular pizza.
Cool. Sold. Yeah.
I only
have-
said because we will probably go with my buddy who is vegan.
And see, I have nothing against vegan food. I just want normal food or whatever.
I don't mind vegan food as long as it tastes good.
Sometimes, generally speaking, some of the ingredients apparently don't agree with me anymore.
That's fair.
Getting old sucks.
Either way, so my only downside. Ooh, and do I have it close enough to me? Yeah, I do. Here's my downside for PRGE this year. Are you ready for this shit?
Sorry.
Here's the badge from PRGE. Notice the fine ridges on the hard plastic. And it was just windy enough to send these whipping around your neck. My buddy's wife literally has like scratches on her arm
Dude.
from this thing
What
whipping
do you
around.
mean you don't like your Ninja Star badges? You fucking pussy.
That's what, like, we were walking to grab some beers afterwards, and I was like, well, at least we have self-defense on us. You can cut somebody with
Hell yeah,
this.
dude, just swing that shit
Yeah.
around. That's some
I mean, it's-
Jackie
like,
Chan shit right there.
Get a load of them sharp, hard plastic ridges, bro. Cool design, but what are you doing?
Yeah.
And a great T-shirt this year came with the if you bought the 3-day badge, you got a T-shirt with it, and it's a nice shirt.
Oh, that's
Got
cool.
like a Miss Pac-Man design on
Well-
it. It's really cool.
To be fair, because not only did we say we talk about it, but it's relevant. There was a year when Comic-Con switched to cheap pin badges, and the thing kept popping out. So
Oh, yeah,
before
yeah.
they did the QR stuff that they do now, World, we've been going to Comic-Con for a while. They had they were pins. They had a little pin on the back, and you slid that son of a bitch in.
Yep.
Except one of the years to save money, they went to a cheaper version because several of our badges snapped out. That thing stabbed me so many times. Remember we had to
Yeah.
like tape it up or something
Yeah.
because they just kept falling off and stuff. But anyways, segue.
Yeah, you want to talk about? Okay, lead us through the Comic-Con debacle because you were online before I was. I was out drinking the night before and was trying to sleep.
I will cue him in when he appears in the story. So it was pre-sale for Comic-Con badges this weekend. The time
San Diego
that
Comic-Con, just to be clear.
San Diego
The big
Comic-Con,
San
yes.
Diego
The only
one.
one that matters. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
The only real one.
Yeah, we're not those douches anymore.
Well,
Well, we hide those douches better.
yeah, we
now.
bury it deep.
Anyways, so what I understood to be was from 8 to 9, you have all this chance to get into the waiting room, and then 9, we'll figure things out. And however, what I didn't realize is I was like, I'm gonna wake up at 8:45. It'll be fine. Whatever. Or not wake up, but like go online at 8:45. It'll be fine. And then I get a text from Bonsai's wife saying, "Hey, are you on?" And I was like, I'm awake but not on. Why? She's like, I can't get on. And Bonsai's asleep. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll be right there. So I went on, and apparently the site just crashed. There was no like, hey, welcome to the waiting room. It's the queue's gonna open up at X time. It was just like, yeah, we're kind of down for maintenance. So she's panicking because she's wondering if it's just her. Is it her computer? Her brain went to the right place. She was like, is it this? Is it this? Is it this? Finally, she's like, how do I test this? Devin's passed the fuck out. There you go. Right? That she didn't say that. I'm just ad-libbing because it's funny.
Yeah.
Editorializing is, I believe, what it's called. And it's my God-given right. Anyways, so we finally get to the point where we realize it's not us. So I go on Twitter, and of course, they've given an update that says, hey, we're aware there's a problem. We're looking into it. Thanks for being patient. And people are already pissed. I am watching the replies on Twitter just start stacking up. It went from 26 to like 300 in less than 2 minutes. And the nerd rage is there. And at this point, we're just supposed to be in a waiting room. It's not really that big of a deal. But the time keeps ticking by. Because they didn't give that update until like probably 8:50.
9:30?
No.
Yeah. Sorry,
that first
yeah.
one. About 8:50-ish. So people are already pissed. Folks are screaming like, hey, postpone it. It isn't fair. This, and that. And I'm like, okay, well.
People got plans, bro.
People got plans. Well, don't get ahead of me, damn it. At this point, we just don't know. It's 9. We're already supposed to be able to buy badges. Nothing's happening. The only thing we know is that they're like, hey, we'll give you an update by 9:30. At about 9:26 to 9:28-ish, they go, hey, we figured it out. We know what the problem is. It's going to be fixed. By 9:30, you'll be allowed into the waiting room. And then at 10, we'll start the sale. So this is an entire hour after they were supposed to go live with the tickets. And people are pissed. Like, people are posting like, well, I guess I'm getting to work late today. And like, well, I get it. It felt like they hadn't been on this game before because it's always taken at least an hour. The whole thing takes at least an hour. So if you only allocated just an hour, then I get it. It's just like whatever. But anyways, they still start late and they're having errors. We finally get into the waiting rooms and two of us you have more than an hour to wait. And one of us has like a vague about 56 minutes, right? It was you that had the 56 minutes.
Yep.
Right. So, because Bonsai is now woken up, we're now in this queue. We've been waiting a long
Yeah.
time.
I'm half awake on the couch,
Yeah.
slamming my meat fists into the keyboard and making it work.
And the best part is at that point, the stress starts to dissolve from me because all the milligrams kick in because I took something that morning. And I'm very talkative, and Bonsai is very hungover. Actually, honestly, I think you were just tired.
Yeah, no, legitimately. Had just gotten home late while drinking and was ready for a real deep sleep and did not get it.
Yeah. But finally we get, and it takes over an hour to get through the queue, and like the updates are all super vague. We all have this little dude on a blue or on a green bar making its way across the screen that's supposed to signify your progress. But with folks having more than an hour, like, I don't know what happened this year, but things lasted much longer. By the time
Much longer.
So, just FYI, we got tickets. Yay!
Yeah.
Happy ending. But yeah, things took a lot longer to get to where you could finally get in. I wonder how long. I wonder if I would have stayed in the queue. I couldn't, right? Because my badge had been purchased. But
Yeah.
I wonder if I would have made it in, because while there were a bunch of issues,
It looked from catching the Comic-Con posts on Facebook, it looks like they went till about 12:30.
Wow,
12:30, somewhere in there.
wow, that is amazing. Usually, like I said, it takes about an hour. But if they went till 12:30, dear Lord, the people that have IRL problems and needed to go to work and shit.
Yeah.
Wow, I wonder how many people just dropped out.
Yeah, how many people just couldn't?
Yeah, that.
I mean, they can try again at Open Reg. It's not a total lost cause, but it is still kind of shitty.
But if this happened here, how long do you think it's going to take an open reg when it's an even larger group of folks?
Yep.
Open reg, if it goes down exactly like it went down this, I'm appreciative because we got tickets within an hour. Well, hour and like 20. But yeah, just I wonder how they're going to handle it. Because this was their first real stress test. Like, it sounds like it's the same company that's done it before. They've just rebranded.
Yeah.
But since they've rebranded, this is the first stress test. What broke this time? It sounds like their actual queue system is different this year.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a lot of tweets about a thing called Quest, and I've done no research into this, so disclaimer there. But a couple of folks that seemed familiar with it had some common complaints. One of them was that it isn't quite as secure as other systems because it doesn't do the login check until you try to buy badges, which you actually ran into, and it's what was causing all those errors. So a lot of people on Twitter were reporting.
I wonder how many people didn't figure it out and got screwed.
Exactly. So a lot of people waited the right amount of time, got lucky enough to be in the ahead of the queue to purchase badges, and then they get this screen that says error loading, try again. And the cause is the system doesn't check whether you're logged in or not, even though we all logged in prior, we prepped it, until you're added into the queue. And it sounds for some people, for some reason, the cookie expired, and it wouldn't register, except I had been monitoring the Twitter, and Devin, Bonsai, and all of us, we figured it out, right? But it was really because we were just looking out for it. Otherwise, we would have been stuck. Imagine if we weren't quasi-competent with computers and we're like, I think we can troubleshoot this shit. You only get 12 minutes to complete your purchase.
Yeah.
And the timer starts because you're led into the room technically.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there were a lot of people who, even though they were lucky to get in, this problem was caused. So that was one of the issues that was reported on Twitter. The other one was that apparently this system has bypass links, which shouldn't be a thing in a random system.
Right.
So there were, at certain times when the wait time seemed much longer, a lot of folks felt...
We saw them go up on mine at least once.
Yep. So the timer would go down, and this isn't one of those Windows timers where it just spirals around. Like, it seemed
it's pretty consistent.
Real time. It was interesting how it would go down. And you could actually see when someone finished their purchase, it would skip a minute or two, right? Because it had allocated 12 minutes for people, and it gave some of the time back, it seemed. Fairly efficient. However, there were a lot of people reporting that their time started going up again, and other folks going like, "Yeah, we've seen this before when the system been used in other ticket sales where there's bypass links, and if a bypasser comes in, it may offset someone else by up to like 12 minutes, right? Because of that, because it's giving the slot away." So I don't know if they did it for they do it for VIPs or whatever, but it just seems kind of shitty and unfair. If they're
Yep.
gonna do that already, why do it during the reg period? Just give them their own link to buy tickets off on their own.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, if they're VIPs, why fuck other people in particular? Just saying, my 2 cents, uninformed against Twitter complaining, but these are the two issues that I noticed were very common, and logic in our experience seems to follow it. But hey, we got tickets. Only thing we don't got is preview night, and who gives a fuck? We'll just get drunk that night.
There you go. For
But
it.
yeah. So I actually did something since our last episode that is a little different for me, because normally I can't. I watch a scary movie.
Ooh, spooky, 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 spooky. That's
Ooh.
the new theme song for that.
From now on, that's a spooky song. We actually talked a lot about Comic-Con, more than I expected, so I'll do a quick review. But I watched
got time? Hit it.
Hellraiser.
And I'm kind of jealous because I have not.
Oh man, I was hoping you had seen this.
No.
So off the top, just straight up, I liked it. It was fun. It's everything I look for in a horror movie. I'll keep this spoiler free about the specifics, but you've watched other Hellraiser movies, yes?
Yeah.
There's usually one person trying to solve the puzzle selfishly, usually ropes other people into trying to do it for him, right?
Yep.
General concept. So first things off, it doesn't matter that Pinhead's a lady. The actress did fantastic.
Yeah, can't imagine that it would have had any bearing on anything.
In the lore, it doesn't even matter. It wasn't said that this was taking Pinhead's place, so there's not like they're writing him off or replacing him. This was just another Cenobite, which is what these demon things are called. I'm saying demon things, but you know, in the lore, it's disputed, but they're generally agreed to be demon-like things.
Did they happen to say their name in this one?
No.
Okay. Apparently in the original they had a name and it was Hell Priest.
That I thought that was Pinhead specifically.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah,
Did they say
yeah.
Pinhead's name?
No. In this, they didn't say it, and they actually, it's interesting. That one of the things I actually wanted to point out, without spoiling it, they made a lot less references to heaven and hell. They didn't not mention it, right? There were a couple of times where it came out, but they focused more on the names in the lore
Okay.
stuff. I liked it. I thought that the CGI and the graphics were cool. I think they hold off. While I generally am not a fan of that gore horror, it's Hellraiser. Like, you can't go into this.
Yeah, it was gonna happen.
Exactly, right? Like, that's what folks are here for. I'd be a hypocrite to be like, no, there was plenty of that. There was some gruesome shots. Like, I think it was well done. And then plot-wise, honestly, I feel like it added to the lore, and I feel like it added to the general mythos, but it didn't feel gated.
Okay.
Which is great, what you want in something like this. Because I went into it thinking, is it a reboot? Is it a sequel? Whatever, this and that, right? And I liked how they handled it. You can tell I'm keeping it very spoiler free, just because I don't want to ruin it for you. Because I do think you should watch it. I've heard, I didn't recognize this because, again, I've watched like 5 of these, but not in the order that they were released, and some on like TV, so all the gory stuff was kind of taken out and just implied. So I've missed bits, and honestly, it's been a long time. So lore-wise, I'm all over the place. But I've heard that this one maybe adjusts some of it. And some people are unhappy, and some people seem to be like it's harmless. I don't know who's right. I don't know whose side I'm on this one, because I feel like that with like Rings of Power. A lot of people are really mad about changes and fudging some of the lore. And honestly, I have read The Lord of the Rings. I haven't done the other stuff.
Silmarillion or any
I
of
haven't
those,
done any of that stuff. I don't mind it so much because I get it. It's film.
So what was okay? Hold on, I know we're not talking about Hellraiser and we're running out of time, but like super fast, can you nutshell what was changed? Because I don't know shit about Tolkien lore, but
Ah,
I will say almost everything that happened in that finale I kind of saw coming. So
yeah, yeah, for sure. So what they did is they took uh they took story that happens over about 1,000 years and condensed it.
oh yeah, I knew that already though, because it's hard to tell a story that happens over 1,000 fucking
So
years.
but to the point where like some things had to be fudged, right? Like technically, okay, spoiler for the fucking Rings of Power. But
Spoiler.
technically, Halbrand wasn't the person that helps Celebrimbor. If I recall correctly in the lore, it's another elf that helps Celebrimbor realize how to make these rings. So they fudge some of that. So they fudge things significantly like that, right? But again, I only know because I've watched YouTube videos, so that's why I don't know the specifics, which is also probably why I'm okay with it. But you know me, there are people that watch Lord of the Rings and go, that was a good try. But
Yeah.
here's the reason why the lore would do whatever, right? And I look at Lord of the Rings and I go, hey, it gave me everything I wanted from a very hard fantasy set of movies. I've watched the extended versions and some of them I just don't think they need to exist, if I'm being honest. I do like the added scenes, but sometimes it's just like 4 hours for a Lord of the Rings movie. Sometimes it's a wee bit much, and I am a fan. I, for the longest time, wore the ring of power around my neck because I thought it was cool as fuck. I still do, but I lost that ring. But yeah, so anyways, so they changed things like that, but also like things that happened early on in I think the Second Age are being shown happening alongside each other here and whatever. I don't know that the arrival of the beings was in the way that it was described. Right? Again, this is Silmarillion stuff. I just don't, or some of it I've forgotten because I read it when I was in like high school. So
Hey.
I just don't find it. Look, I've even seen like in our group of friends who are like, I didn't like it, and I'm like, okay, fair, but both me and my wife enjoyed it. It wasn't awful. It was a little slow, but
So
it's a
let
TV
me
show.
give you the non Lord of the Rings fan point of view. I think Lord of the Rings is too high fantasy for me. I think high fantasy is really hard to sell as a TV show because you have to explain a lot. You have to have very long conversations that explain lots of things because otherwise every single episode is going to be 19 hours and you're not going to cover very much ground.
Yeah.
There's just lots of things you need to know with fantasy. So I have a really hard time with fantasy television because it tends to be really boring. Tends to just be a lot of people fucking talking to each other about shit.
Yeah.
And I don't care about their feelings. Just don't. Lord of the Rings actually managed to mostly be not that boring. I think the start was really rough for it. At the beginning, the only plot line I cared about was the wizard landing from space. That was it. I really didn't give a shit about Galadriel, and actually still don't. I still think that's the weakest plot line. Like I feel about any prequel, there's no point in putting sequel characters in a prequel and having them be in danger ever. Why
Yeah.
put dramatic music on it? We know they're fine. We know
Well,
she's fine. What's the drama? She's not gonna lose a fucking eye.
I know. I do like watching these scenes played out because I've always wanted to see them. But yes, I wish they would focus so much on, oh, she's in danger, right? Like, look, folks, she was never gonna drown,
Right.
ever.
Wasn't gonna happen. She wasn't gonna get eaten by the big fish.
No, just or if she was gonna be fine, right? Like,
Right.
same issue. I completely understand. So I wish they would just tone down that side of it. But I'm enjoying the storyline because of the other characters that we haven't heard very much about.
So that's what I'm getting to. So at first I didn't care about hers, and I didn't care about Elrond's either. At the beginning, Elrond's whole story was
I
just like
actually kind
political
of,
drama.
I kind of hate. I'm sorry, I hate Elrond.
Yeah, no, it was just
That's
political
not how I
drama.
pictured a
But
young Elrond to be. Sorry,
I
continue.
I started enjoying his plotline more once they introduced the dwarf character.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
liked the dwarf character, so then the plotline was at least interesting.
He's one of my
Gladriel's
favorites.
whole plotline never really got interesting, and the elf in the town with those people, I also just didn't really give a shit about what happened there.
Okay, so again, that's the non-fan view. So the thing with the Southlands was interesting to me. Um, just because of I've heard his name before in the lore, that
Sure.
elf. But again, goes right back to that other thing.
Yeah, you know what happens to him, so
Sort of, yeah, pretty much.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I enjoyed the show though. Honestly, me and my wife are enjoying it. It's a solid show. But before we completely part, I'd like to give Hellraiser a rating.
Yes, please. Sorry.
Solid 4
Out of 5?
out of 5. Yeah.
Nice.
For a horror movie, you know me, I'm not a huge horror buff, but yeah, solid. I enjoyed it. There were parts that I was like, just because of the visuals, but not in
Yeah.
I'm afraid way. Just in a like, oh, that was gooey. Yeah,
Yeah,
all
right.
right, I see. Yeah, predictability. It's a horror movie, folks. I actually
Yeah.
lower my standards for horror movies. I'll be completely honest. On plot and like consistency with within the own movie, because look,
Yeah.
it's just stuff that will knock somebody out in one point fucking does nothing at another. Just
Oh, and especially 80s horror, there's really bad problems with teleporting villains. Like, there's no way for them to get from where they were to where they suddenly are in
Yeah.
any reasonable.
if the only reason the first Halloween has a supernatural villain is because that motherfucker can run so fast.
Yeah. That one's really guilty of it. I want to say it's like oh, it's Friday the 13th 3 or 4, where like literally he seriously must have gained the ability to teleport with some of the
Yeah,
jumps
that's
that
the one where he just
that
shows
he
up
makes.
outside of a lot of doors, right?
Oh, like going from upstairs to
Yeah,
downstairs
yeah.
instantaneously when there's one set of stairs and clearly the hero just ran down them.
Well,
Shit like
and they
that.
also did a lot of the I've locked myself in a basement and now he's behind me stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They also really like to pull that, oh, he's been hung, but then he like what I do like is he doesn't disappear. You actually watch that dude raise himself off of a noose and untangle himself one-handed. It's kind of dope.
Yeah. That is better. At least it explains it. But anyways,
Yeah.
yeah, check out the new Hellraiser. I am actually looking forward to another one. Huh?
Hulu.
Oh, is that the only place it is?
It's a Hulu original.
Oh shit, I did not know.
Hulu's killing it with the horror movies, dude.
Oh man, so my problem is I have TV through Hulu.
Hmm.
So some shit is just like on normal channels and I go, "Oh yeah, exclusive." No, it's not.
Yeah.
But apparently this is. All right, yeah. Check it out. I think the actors did solid. Yeah. 4 out of 5. That brings us to the end here. Anything else for the fellers?
No?
Cool. Check us out Monday nights 7 to 8 Pacific on YouTube in 5D Podcasts, and Tuesdays twitch.tv/metagame network. That is 7 to 9 Pacific, where we play multiplayer games, and by we I mean me and some of the other folks from the Metagame Network. All right. Anything final?
Pop-up video.
I think that's the creepiest thing you've ever said to me.